Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, humans aged from the ages of 0 through 18. Welcome back to Pure Finesse with the host, Jacob Murchison, and my co-host, the guy I think who still needs to be written bedtime stories and I think still sleeps with the nightlight on, Malcolm Govius. I think he's pulling out his nightlight right now, actually. Thought it was a joke, but I guess it's real. That's pretty weird, but guess he's still searching for the night lights. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I figured as much.
Beautiful stars at night. You can see it's really cool, actually.
Oh yeah, shoot for the stars. I guess you want to be an astronaut.
Stars over top of me.
Shooting for the stars, eh?
Always.
Yeah. So today's March 13th, right? So this is the 1-year anniversary of coronavirus being declared a pandemic, and it hit.
Wow.
I thought to myself, your email just must be littered with Zoom invitations.
Oh, so I have to delete them, man. Like if I see them, I just delete because I get so many.
Not archived.
Like, in the archive.
I thought I meant more than just being deleted, Malcolm. I thought I meant more. Okay, I'm gonna.
They can't just be sitting there. I have many other emails to respond to as well. So, such as fantasy trades in both
such
NFL
as Pizza Hut coupons, Dairy Queen giveaways,
or Uber Eats receipts.
There you go.
I need to know how much money I'm spending. It's a lot.
Yeah. But today, Malcolm, we are on the final installment of NFL free agents. Let's not beat around the bush. There's a lot of guys that have already been franchise tagged and signed, and most of those guys have been hit in the numbers 19 through 1. There's one guy that I made the pick of before he was signed. So the score, the score right now is, I think it's 2-2 right now, 2-2 for most picks being correct. But
because we got Darrell Williams right.
Correct. So and correct with the term, not a big deal. But number 19 is the cornerback from the Cincinnati Bengals, Mr. William Jackson the third. Yeah, I can't forget about the former two. William Jackson is a very, very, very good cornerback in the league. Should have been a Pro Bowl player, but he plays in the Cincinnati Bengals. So for obvious reasons, he didn't get much recognition for it. Malcolm, do they have to re-sign Mr. Jackson the third?
Yeah, like we said just the other day about some other Cincinnati players on the defensive end playing good. I think William Jackson's another bright spot for this defense too. So they're a team that I think that they can let some guys walk, like AJ Green, I think is going to walk from Cincinnati. So they'll have room to re-sign the key guys that they want. So I think they'll sign 3 years he'll sign 3 years with Cincinnati.
I think the same way. William Jackson is a really good person to build around on Cincinnati's defensive side of the ball. He's not very old, so I think he's going to be around for a long time. And he's one of the proven players in Cincinnati's defense where there was not much of them last year. So build around William Jackson, keep him there for long term, and build some more pieces around him. And I think it's going to be very nice. Number 18, safety from the New Orleans Saints, Mr. Marcus Williams. We know Marcus Williams for blowing that Stephon Diggs touchdown back in the day in 2018.
Yeah.
But he was just franchise tagged by the New Orleans Saints, so they keep him for at least another year. And Saints defense, again, I think it's more slept on just because of all the other weapons on the offensive side of the ball. But they have some really good playmakers on New Orleans' defensive side.
No, they have so many good, I know even talking to you, you have so many Ohio State.
I was about to say, it's basically Ohio State's defensive front.
I'm saying there's so many members of the Ohio State team. And Ohio State's probably the best university college to produce defensive players. You can't even lie about that. You see so many of them in the NFL. So there's so many of them on the Saints. And like you said, Marcus Williams is another guy who's just really good on defense. And he's overshadowed, like you said, about all the offensive side. So I think it was smart for them to franchise tag him because they're going to have to keep some of these defensive guys if in the future that they're losing potentially Drew Brees. Like he said, he's retiring. And then you don't know what's going to happen with other guys if they decide to leave when their contract's ended. So you have this guy still for another year. You can work on a lengthier contract later.
Yeah, because I think he's going to get his bread after being franchise tagged for for this season. 17, cornerback of the Tennessee Titans, Mr. Desmond King. He was probably the biggest trade deadline acquisition of all the NFL last year, being traded from San Diego, the LA Chargers, to the Tennessee Titans. So I think it's kind of stupid for Tennessee not to offer him a contract after they got out and traded for him. And they just released Malcolm Butler. So they really do need to. They're going to need to make a splash signing on a cornerback, and already got one of the system in Desmond King, right?
Yeah, so I just say keep Desmond King. I think you agree with me too. Like, so why not? You just keep him around. You release Malcolm Butler. Malcolm Butler hasn't been good since the interception in New England. In my opinion, he's been overrated since that interception. So I think it was smart of them to let him go. They got Desmond King this year. He played good for them. They made the playoffs. They made. I can't remember if they lost in the first round or not.
No, they lost to Baltimore.
Yeah, they lost to Baltimore. Yeah, Baltimore finally got their win. So they didn't work out the way they thought, but re-sign them, go again next year. Hopefully get some other good weapons on defense too, and make a potentially deeper playoff run.
Yeah, there's a lot of question marks right now in Tennessee when it comes to cornerbacks, right? Because Malcolm Butler, they just released, and Adoree Jackson missed a ton of last year with an injury. So I think the only mainstay right now is Desmond King, unless they want to take a chance on him and have zero cornerbacks going into 2021. Yeah, it sounds like a Tennessee Titans move to me. 16, cornerback of the San Francisco 49ers, the self-made best cornerback in the game, Mr. Richard Sherman. Malcolm, I will not be lying to you that you think there was somewhat of a drop-off between Seattle Richard Sherman and San Francisco Richard Sherman.
So, and obviously there is, like, when you had the Legion of Boom together there in Seattle, it was just a force to be reckoned with. There's no doubt that they won a Super Bowl and should have won another one. I'm just going to get back to Malcolm Butler. I'm just ruining that. They should have won another one with that just great dynasty defense. But now in San Francisco, a lot of people saw he kind of fell off. He's still playing good football. It's not like he's playing atrocious and he's just choking all the time. But he's not playing like he used to be playing. Where I think he's going to go, I don't think he's going to stay with San Francisco. I think he's going to go to the Denver Broncos. Denver, I think it needs to get some more bigger names. They just franchised tag Justin Simmons, if I'm not mistaken. So
thanks for spoiling the next coming up, but yeah, whatever. Nice.
Was he on? Oh, I didn't even see he was on here. My bad.
It's almost like you're the co-host.
My bad. I forgot that he was on here. I thought he was later on. But I think they need to get some other big names in there too. Richard Sherman's kind of a veteran guy, can really help this young Denver team. I remember last year a bunch of people thought Drew Lock was going to be an MVP candidate. That didn't happen. I think if he comes in, helps on the defensive side, and kind of mentors all the young guys on the offensive side too, it'll be a good acquisition for them. So 2 years in Denver.
So Richard Sherman just screams John Gruden. Just the way his personality, the way he plays the game, screams Raiders. So I think he's signing a 2-year deal with the Vegas Raiders and play with that young secondary that they have, Jonathan Abram, Damon Arnett. If they can get a mentor like Richard Sherman to be in that team, I think it's going to be very, very, very beneficial. And I think I would love to see a John Gruden, Richard Sherman celebration once or twice next year. So I think that will be can't miss TV. 15, the highest ranked running back on our list here from the Green Bay Packers, Mr. Aaron Jones, was not franchise tagged by the Green Bay Packers. So that is just a huge green light signifying that he is not coming back to Green Bay next year. Am I right?
Yeah, I think so. And he had 2 good years, two back-to-back years. So I think any team will look at him like, hey, he's going to be a valuable asset for us. For the longest time, I thought he was going to come to Pittsburgh, but
Najee Harris, baby.
Exactly. Jay keeps reminding me, just go to the draft, get Najee Harris. There's other, like, even Travis.
You keep reminding. That's all you've been talking about for the last month and a half. Oh, Pittsburgh's getting Najee.
They better get Najee or Travis Etienne. They got to get one of the two. They have to get one of the two. But for Aaron Jones, I think he's going to go somewhere. Jay thinks Juju's going to go the Jets. Instead of going and getting Juju, I think they're getting a good pass catching running back in Aaron Jones.
How about both?
Not Juju's with this. He's our TikTok star. No one else's. I think he'll sign 2 years with the Jets. They just lost Le'Veon Bell this last year, right? So he was a good pass catching running back. They have Frank Gore. Frank Gore is old as hell. They need a good young running back. They need good everything, but just starting off getting this big signing would be good for them.
Screams a great passing running back and a team that is owned the running game for as long as we've been around this earth. And the guy that really signified that was beast mode with the Skittles. So I see Aaron Jones turning into Marshawn Lynch 2.0 with the Seattle Seahawks on a 3-year deal. Keep Russell Wilson happy. They're not going to be signing back Chris Carson. So I think it opens the door for Seattle to get Aaron Jones rather than Con Bradburn, our roommate, likes it or not. He is out of Green Bay next year. 14, tackle from the Carolina Panthers, Taylor Moton, was franchise tagged by the team. One of the biggest mainstays on that offensive line. Like, we don't give too much credit to Carolina's offensive line for how good Christian McCaffrey has been doing the last couple of seasons and how good Mike Davis played without Christian McCaffrey in the lineup.
Exactly. That's a big credit to the
I think, exactly, right? So no one talks about the guys on that offensive line because of all the star power on the backside of it. But these guys are doing work, and Taylor Moton deserves to get paid at some point soon.
Yeah.
13, edge rusher from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Mr. Shaquille Barrett.
You go first with
will
this
most likely not be re-signing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers after the franchise tag of the guy on number 4 on our free agency. Let's see, Malcolm, how I didn't say the guy's name.
I understand.
If you want to take notes, you have a pen to write down. But Shaq Barrett will not be going to Tampa Bay, and Malcolm is loving this pick because he can't get enough of it. Shaquille Barrett will be signing a 2-year deal with the Dog Pound in Cleveland. They struck out on J.J. Watt. They're letting Olivier Vernon walk. They're going to get Shaq Barrett one way or another. Him and Myles Garrett on the defensive line. Ben Roethlisberger is going to be forced to retire after these two are done with them. So can't wait for that. I might have to rub it in his face when I might have to put in a couple of times to say I got this one correct, because Shaquille Barrett will be a Cleveland Brown come September.
I think he's going to stay in the AFC, but I think he's going to go to the New England Patriots. New England Patriots just need some help on the defense, with their defense just getting older and older. Their offense, they're still building around Cam Newton, it looks like, for right now. They're going to have him for one more year. So I think go get Shaq Barrett. Shaq Barrett's, I feel like, a good player to play under Bill Belichick, a good player to develop under Bill Belichick. I think Bill Belichick gets too much praise for how good he was, because Tom Brady really ran the show there. But still, he was a good coach, because you can't win Super Bowls without having a good all-around team. So I think he'll sign 2 years with the Patriots, not the Cleveland Browns. Anywhere but the Browns.
Yeah. Number 12, guard from the aforementioned New England Patriots, Mr. Joe Thuney. I think he's going to be signing a 1-year deal with the New England Patriots. He missed a couple of games last year, but he's played with New England his whole career. Loves Josh McDaniels, loves Bill Belichick. I don't think there's any reason why he wants to be going anywhere else except for New England. And, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? What are you going to do? I'm sure he's going to get paid.
I agree with you. Just 1 year with New England again. Why not sign him again? He wants to stay.
Number 11, one of the biggest beasts of the offensive side of the ball for the last 10 years, a mainstay in Washington, guard Brandon Sheriff. He was just franchise tagged by the football team. He's a multiple-time Pro Bowler, should be all pro very, very soon, and should be getting his bag very, very soon. Rather you want to see him franchise tagged or not, but he is going to get a long-term deal very, very quickly. Whether that's not with Washington or not, but he is one of the best guards in all of football. Yep. So I'm sure Washington's very, very happy to see him back next year.
Yeah, I think he's been one of those main guys that really helps out. I know Washington has been good, but even last year, look how good they were. And you have to really give the O-line credit there, because Alex Smith came back and they protected him really well. So it was a smart move to franchise tag him.
We are now into the top 10 of free agency now. And there are multiple names wherever you look. If you don't even follow football, you know these names. Number 10, tight end of the Los Angeles Chargers, Mr. Hunter Henry, had a breakout season last year after coming off injury the year before. Up for free agency now. Does LA try to keep him with Herbert?
I don't think they do. I think he's going to go to the Green Bay Packers. And I think he'll go to Green Bay. They have Robert Tonyan there, right? But I think Robert Tonyan was just a one-season wonder. I don't think he's going to keep it up, in my opinion, especially if they get another wide receiver. But I think Hunter Henry would just be another big, tall wide receiver if they don't get a wide receiver, right, at tight end. And you can't go wrong with two great tight ends. I know some teams go with two pretty good tight ends. Green Bay, just another weapon for Aaron Rodgers. So I say it's signed 2 years with them there.
See, I don't think you're giving enough credit to Robert Tonyan right now.
No, I had him in fantasy.
I think he's going to be the guy.
I think it's going to be a one-season wonder, though. That's just my take. That's my take on it.
I don't know. I see him going to a team that doesn't really have a tight end right now after their tight end has retired. True. That one being Jimmy Graham. And I will be seeing him going 3 years with the Chicago Bears, the mainstay rival of the Green Bay Packers.
Mm-hmm.
I think Hunter Henry fit him very, very nicely there in Chicago. Him, Big Dick Nick, or Mitch Trubisky, the kid from Mentor. What's up? I think it's a great fit for Hunter Henry, and he's going to get some cash, I bet, if he's going to Chicago. And I think if they do get Hunter Henry, I think they put themselves right into the conversation of a playoff contender.
You think so? Well, they did make it last year. And no one really expected them to. So another good weapon with the number 2 guy in our list. See, I'm
Oh,
not
there you
spoiling.
go. There you go. Learning on
I
the
think that's
fly.
pretty
Mr.
good.
Malcolm Govius here. Number 9, safety of the Minnesota Vikings, Mr. Anthony Harris. So I don't think that players right now in Minnesota, if I was a player in Minnesota, I would be looking anywhere but to play in Minnesota because I just have it in for Mike Zimmer. I don't like him as a coach. The way he operates things, I just doesn't agree with me. So Anthony Harris, does he want to try to re-sign with Minnesota?
Well, one thing I want to say, my friend Paul, he came out to me just yesterday. He said, "Malcolm, I got a new favorite football
Insider
team."
news.
I'm like, who's your new favorite football team? He's like, the Minnesota Vikings. And all I could say was the puking emoji. It comes like, why? Why would you choose right now at this point? If you want to choose any favorite NFL team, you could hop on any
Browns.
bandwagon you want. You
The
could
Browns
hop on,
bandwagon.
you could hop
Browns
on the
wagon.
Browns. I respect that more. But you picked the Minnesota Vikings. I don't know why. I don't think Anthony Harris will stay. I think we've talked about this in one of our first 2 episodes. We think that San Francisco 49ers defense and their secondary more specifically has been really banged up. So I think if he goes there, that would be a good ad for them. I think they're a team that is one to look out for next year too, because of all their injuries. They can be really, really good next year. Don't forget they made the Super Bowl 2 years ago. So I think a good signing with Anthony Harris for the 49ers.
Don't forget, he says. Don't forget.
Don't
Yeah,
forget.
Anthony Harris, I think, will be signing with the San Francisco 49ers. They really don't have any mainstay guys right now in that secondary that I can name off the top of my head rather than Sherman and Barrett. I don't see any of those 2 guys resigning like me and Malcolm have said. So I think they need to make a splash in the secondary at some point. And number 9 guy, Anthony Harris, I think, is screaming San Fran gold.
Yeah.
Number 8, linebacker of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Levante David. He's already signed, and I swear on my life,
We made the picks
this
before I
prediction
could.
before.
2
years with Tampa Bay. He's signing a 2-year deal with Tampa Bay for $25 million, with 20 of it being guaranteed schmackolas. You want to chalk this up to Tom Brady maybe taking a pay cut? Maybe, but it
only taking
definitely
like $8 million 1 year he's making, I think.
So yeah, I looked it up today. So he's due about $39 million this year.
Yeah, like 41.
Yes. And 9 of it is being paid in salary. So he's getting, if you do the math, a $31 million signing bonus, which will not be counted against the cap. So his cap hit is $9 million.
God damn, bro. That's insane.
So saves him $19 million in cap space. So that will definitely free up some space to sign some of these guys like Levante David, Shepard, Antonio Brown, Dominic Sue. So Tampa Bay's trying to keep this team together. And I think they have a really realistic chance of running it back if they do.
They really do, and it's gonna be scary to watch. I don't want to see it. No one likes to see Tom Brady win. He's been winning ever since we've been born, bro. Like he's
gonna play till he's 45. It's a formality now.
He wants to play past it. I can't have that. I don't. He's won enough. I can't have that.
Number 7, the best safety on our list right now, best player in the secondary from Denver, Justin Simmons. Like Malcolm let the cat out of the bag a couple of minutes ago. He was franchise tagged by the Denver Broncos. I think this is a bargain for Denver because he is going to be commanding a lot of cash once he's off the franchise tag coming up next season. So I think it's definitely a cheap way of keeping Justin Simmons on the team. Maybe trying to re-sign Von Miller is now priority number 1 for Denver.
Yeah, I think it was a smart move by them because Denver just doesn't have a lot of good things going for them right now. Justin Simmons is that one thing that's really going good for them, so it just makes the most sense to franchise tag him and work out a contract, see how he plays, and work out a contract based on his play next year.
Number 6, one of the most underrated receivers in the game was the season last year was just ruined by injury. But if you remember, if you ever had some fantasy in the 18-19 season, you know all about this guy because yours truly had him in fantasy 2 years ago. That's your wide receiver from the Detroit Lions, Mr. Kenny Golladay. Was not franchise tagged by the Detroit Lions. So again, green light says that he's leaving Detroit. Malcolm is frozen, so I'll just get to my pick right now. And Kenny Golladay will be going, I believe, on a 4-year deal with the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'll tell you why. Is because they have not had a premier receiver on this team since Alshon Jeffrey moved to Philly from Chicago.
And he choked
And
him.
I think it owes Jeffrey Lurie and the whole organization there owes the team fan base a number one receiver. And I think Kenny Galladay is going to be that guy. I think he's going to get a lot of cash.
I disagree with you. I don't think he's going to go Philly. I think he's going to go to the New York Giants. Another good weapon for Danny Dimes. Just keep improving his game because I think New York really believes in Danny Dimes. And just getting Kenny Galladay there will just be very, very helpful. And I think the fan base, if you talk about fan bases, the fan base for the New York Giants has been very loyal. I have one friend from high school who's been through it thick and thin. He's seen all
it's pretty hard. Come on, you cannot say that. They got 2 Super Bowls in the last 15 years. No.
The recent years of how bad they've been, and you're still
they have
sticking with them.
they have Super Bowls in the
bandwagon.
21st century. Okay, there's no hard times for football fans. They have a Super Bowl win in the last 20 years.
We're just talking a Cleveland fan here. He's just very sad all the time because they can't win anything and won't win anything. But I say 3 years.
Except the playoff game this year against the Pittsburgh Steelers, not a big deal.
3 years with the New York Giants. Kenny Galladay. Thanks for coming.
Top 5 tackle of the San Francisco 49ers, Mr. Trent Williams, was a disgruntled player on the football team and then was traded to San Francisco before the start of this season. So I think San Francisco wants to keep him around if they traded for him. He's one of the biggest offensive tackles in all of the NFL. He's deservingly so, is going to get paid. And I think San Francisco is going to get him that cash to keep that pretty boy face Jimmy G looking spick and span.
Unless they trade Jimmy G for Deshaun Watson, but in a great big package deal. But who knows? I think Trent Williams, I agree with you. I think he's going to stay too. You got to protect your quarterback. This guy is number 5 ranked in our list for free agents, and he's a tackle. That's saying something because I think that position is very underrated. Not a lot of people give that enough recognition to the offensive line who really protect the football, allow running backs and quarterbacks and receivers to do their jobs. So like you said, I think he deserves to get paid with the 49ers.
So that is the actual last prediction of it because the last 4 have already been signed and locked up. So number 4 of our list, wide receiver from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Chris Godwin, was franchise tagged by the Buccaneers. Are you surprised it was him that was franchise tagged?
I'm not. I kind of predicted them to. I didn't think they'd franchise tag him, but I thought they'd keep him around because I know Mike Evans is getting older. Chris Godwin is playing just as good, and he's a younger wide receiver. So I wasn't surprised that they signed him. Kind of surprised by the franchise tag. I didn't really know who to expect they'd use it on those. So it's not a huge shock to me. How about you?
Well, Chris Godwin's got back-to-back 1,200-yard seasons, right? Yeah. So, I mean, you want to put the argument on that he's the best receiver in Tampa Bay. That's open to your discretion.
Yeah.
But he deserves to be paid. And, franchise tagging isn't the worst for wide receivers because, a lot of receivers are getting some pretty good cash. So, I mean, it's a pretty good average for them to be getting. So, and I think he wants to play and try to run it back because if Tom Brady's taking a cut, I think that says a lot of his character about how much he wants to win. So I think I think that's a really good message to the rest of the team saying, hey, if he wants to take a cut, I think he cares about us coming back. So I think Chris Godwin's very happy to be in Tampa Bay right now.
I think Tom Brady wants to have another one of those boat parties, just seeing how he's feel afterwards. Not kidding, bro.
Yeah, it kind of looks like you went after a Twisted Tuesday. Am I right or am I right?
It does look like it.
Number 3, edge rusher, formerly of the Houston Texans. This is a little while back, but this is J.J. Watt. Malcolm, are you a little butthurt that he didn't go to Pittsburgh?
Yeah, bro. Come on, play with your brothers, bro. You have 2 brothers. Like, I swear, it's 2 years though, right? And his brothers, God forbid, no one gets injured because injuries can ruin careers. But after these 2 years, hopefully he has the chance to play with his brothers again, and maybe he'll try to run it back. I'm not running back. He'll try to go win it with Arizona because that's a team that they believe in. He has his former teammate DeAndre Hopkins there. He says he believes in Kyler Murray. He texted him that himself. So I understand that he wants a ring, so I'm not really butthurt about it. But hopefully, after these 2 years, he comes to Pittsburgh. If TJ Watt
of the last 5 seasons, has more sacks than JJ Watt?
Who's that?
Oh, that's only his teammate now, Chandler Jones.
Chandler Jones.
Those two. Chandler Jones, man, is the most underrated defensive player in the NFL. Does not get talked about at all.
Did you see the clip of him breaking the machine where you go up and like tackle the machine or whatever. He full on just dismantled it, broke it in half. I agree with you. He's been just like
Slept on. Absolutely
playing with
slept
him
on.
in Madden alone, like for the past 3 years. It's just been like, wow, this guy's really good. I started watching him some more. I'm like, wow, this guy's pretty good. He's really good.
So
So
yeah,
that's insane that they have both
more
of them.
recognition for Chandler Jones and JJ Watt's playing beside him. So he's signing a 2-year, $31 million deal with Arizona, with 23 of the bills coming
That's
in
crazy.
guaranteed cash. Number 2, best wide receiver on our list from the Chicago Bears. They call him A-Rob. Allen Robinson, franchise tagged by the Bears. Man, can we get an actual quarterback to play with Allen Robinson, please?
Please, can we get an actual quarterback to play with Chicago Bears? Because I swear a lot of these receivers will start having breakout seasons if they get a good quarterback throwing them the ball. Because I just saw a clip from last year of all these receivers just out routing their defensive counterparts and the ball just being overthrown, underthrown, not on target, and they're wide open. So Allen Robinson included, he's like one of the best receivers in the league, probably underrated too, and not
Guess how
talked about
much
as much.
shit quarterbacks he plays with.
Exactly, because he's playing with Chicago. So I'm happy they kept
Shit
it around.
Chicago. Shit Chicago.
Chicago. Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm surprised. No, I guess I'm not, because I'm sure Chicago want to keep him around, but I don't think Allen Robinson wants to be in Chicago right now. Like,
No.
unless they go and make a huge splash and get Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson right now, like we don't know.
Yeah,
I think Allen Robinson is ready to be in Chicago right now. Just me.
I wouldn't want to be there at all.
But number 1 on our list, he's getting paid big time. If you're any fan of the Dallas Cowboys, I don't know if you know this or not, but Dak Prescott signed. He signed a 4-year, $160 million contract extension
Huge.
with the boys, with just a measly $126 million of it being in guaranteed cash.
That's
Malcolm,
ridiculous.
he's getting Pat Mahomes. He's just under Patrick Mahomes. Dak Prescott.
I don't agree with that. Can't even cap. I know how people put Dak Prescott up on this pedestal. I know he's probably going to come back player of the year. I don't
It's a
disagree that
formality.
I don't disagree that he's a good quarterback, because he's a great quarterback. But based on his plays in recent years, I just don't think he's deserving of close to Patrick Mahomes' money. I think there's other quarterbacks who deserve it more. And maybe they will get that money someday when the time comes. But right now, I don't think. I think Dak Prescott deserves to stay with Dallas.
Get money.
But I don't think he deserves that much money, bro. $160 million.
So exactly right. He's just coming off the injury. I mean, I realistically thought he was gonna be franchise tagged one more season, just
Same.
because no one knows how good Dak Prescott is going to be after his foot injury last season. But Jerry Jones, he was franchise tagged the last 2 seasons. So if you want to chat up to Jerry Jones being an a-hole like he usually is, yeah, it kind of screwed everyone over. And Dallas is going to be in salary cap hell for the foreseeable future after paying Dak ridiculous money, Zeke ridiculous money, and Amari Cooper ridiculous money. So if they want to put their defense is going to look like a tyke team right now for how much guys are paying on the offensive side of the ball. CeeDee Lamb is a formality. He's going to be walking after his rookie contract's over.
Yep.
And I don't think they're going to keep that amazing offensive line intact, because all those guys are going to be deserving very much to get paid, and they're just not going to because of how much guys they're paying for the special position players of wide receiver, running back, and quarterback. It doesn't make sense to me how much money all 3 of those guys are getting. And if they suck next year, one of the 3 are leaving.
Yeah, and I'm just so happy to see Dallas in such misery, because I hate the Cowboys, bro. I think a lot of people can agree with me. Like, not a huge fan of the Cowboys. The fact that their O-line might break up is just fantastic, because that's the one thing that's been constantly talked about, is their O-line constantly being good. And now they're paying their other offensive weapons too much money. So I just love to see it. Love to see it.
Speaking of loving to see it, Malcolm, I'm not loving to see this end, but that is the end of the NFL free agency list for 2021. So until everyone is signed, you're seeing on Pure Finesse's site, all the guys that we made correctly will be posted to Pure Finesse's Instagram to see who gets the final say of who was the best of picking the free agency trackers. But Malcolm, to quote the illustrious Future, I'm balling like March Madness, because starting
baby.
on Sunday, bracket time. Selection Sunday
Go
is going to be up.
Jags.
Me and Malcolm. I'm 100% you didn't say that. Me and Malcolm will be going through the brackets coming tomorrow, and all the terms and details of the Pure Finesse March Madness extravaganza will be made
Oh,
to the
it's
public
a doozy. You guys will
tomorrow.
be excited. Oh my goodness, I
So
can't wait.
hold on to your seatbelts and get your popcorn ready. Until then, it's Jacob.
In Cole.